Well, look what has happened. I got a visit from a woodchuck into my composting area here where I'm growing crops. And look at, ate all the tops off of the carrots. They're all gone. There's some tops that are laying on the ground here yet. Must have been where he was walking along the side here, trampled them down a little bit. So, I don't know, some people might look at that as a tragedy, but let's kind of turn this into an experiment. I'm going to do some harvesting right now. I'm going to thin them out, and we'll let the nice lineup of them continue to grow, because they'll grow new leaves. And we'll see if we still get a pretty good crop. I know there are probably some nice carrots in here already. I got these squash that are kind of intruding in here. That's okay, we'll just move them into the path. And I also have candy onions that have pretty much dried up, so they can be harvested too. I never let the candy onions grow to be in a bulb before, so I don't know if these are big ones or not. That's not a bad carrot. Might as well take the top off right away. I'll come back and pick those up. So we're going to look for little areas here where they're kind of thick. And we'll just grab a couple out of there. If they're smaller, that's okay. They come, oh, there's a nice long one. That one probably was going to grow into being a pretty big one. Look at this. That's what we want, but about 3 times the thickness. Okay. Let's see what else we got in here. That's a little one. And we can eat little ones too. Here's a nice one. So if I've got like 3 or 4 of them wide, I'm grabbing the middle out. That way there's some distance between the outer ones. Some really nice carrots, really nice straight ones. Have something. Oh yeah, nice straight ones. Here's a really thick area. What I did was when I planted them, I just scattered the seeds in a line up. I put down a little sand first, scattered the seeds over the top, and you know, they came out of the package, who knows how they came out. Sometimes they came out in thin little lines, and sometimes a clump of them would come out. And these clumps here are the ones that I'm harvesting right now. So as I'm thinning here, I'm going to encourage the ones that I leave behind to grow bigger. And the ones that I'm thinning out, they aren't going to be wasted. I'm going to eat them. How much more logic do you need than that? I don't know. Some people probably need a lot more. Some people would rather starve than plant a garden. It reminds me of another thing I said lately. People who don't like zucchini have a higher chance of starving. I like that one. Okay, some of them are really tiny, but since this has all been cleared out here, I might as well do the thinning. I was going to do it sooner or later anyway, but I'm kind of dragging my feet. Now I can do it. And I think they're going to regrow their little leaves pretty easily enough. So it's not a tragedy. Not a setback. I guess there is a negative connotation in that the critter got in here, but I actually figured out where it was getting in. I had piled some soil up along the chicken wire fence here that is surrounding this composting area, and you could see that it had compacted the soil right there where it had got up on top of the little mound of soil and jumped over the fence. So that can no longer happen. I got it. I raised it up, and I actually caught it yesterday trying to get in. It was kind of standing there where normally it wouldn't be standing there. It'd be inside here already. And I'm not having to kill it. So we'll let it roam around until it goes after something else that I don't want, and then I have to decide again do I want to kill that creature or not. Now, if we were in a economic environment where meat got really expensive, I would definitely kill it and eat it. My garden would be like a lure. They come in here and go after my garden stuff, and then I would capture them and butcher them and eat them. These are nice straight carrots. I forget what they're called. I got them from the local nursery. Ooh, that wasn't even a carrot there. I'd have to look it up. Some lady's name is on the package. Oh, I got a whole bunch out of there. I didn't want to grab them all like that. But we'll go with it. We'll have some nice fresh carrots with our salad for lunch today. Baby carrots. These aren't baby carrots, but they're in the baby form right now. If I grab the biggest ones here, which I've been tending to do, then I'll extend my harvest because these little ones will take a longer time before they get to picking size, which I think these are like 10 inches or something. If you can extend the harvest all the way until you have total freeze up, then you can take those carrots and put them in a pot, cover them with sand, and they'll keep for a couple months in your basement. Easy couple months. So now you're extending your fresh harvest because being in that sand, they're not going to die. They're going to continue to grow and live. All their enzymes are still active. Those enzymes actually stay alive in the plant for about 3 hours after you harvest the crop. And that's when they're at its highest level of nutrition. So one of my goals here was to provide fresh food during growing season. And that was the primary goal, where some people have a primary goal of growing just storage crops or crops that you can or freeze or something. That's their primary goal. Well, I don't have that as a primary goal. The primary goal is to grow and eat as many fresh vegetables, and I got fruits and nuts here too, as possible during the summer. Just load up. Get all that nutrition into my body. And I got high nutrition here with with the compost that I made. So let's see. So then the secondary goal would be to make storage crops, grow storage crops that store without any intervention. No canning or no freezing, you know, like your potatoes and these carrots. I've got quite a few of those types of crops where you can put them in a bucket full of sand or something and they'll keep for quite some time. I got kohlrabi. I've kept them for as long as 2 months, although after about a month those kohlrabi begin to lose their sweetness. They're pretty far apart here, and they're more like potatoes for a while, and then after about 2 months they begin to actually start to taste sour. We're getting to the end here. Hey, look at, that's a pretty nice carrot. Right here there's a thick circle of them, so I'll take out the ones in the middle. Ooh, there's a nice one there. Ooh, another nice one. I think that one's kind of between the two. Let's get that one out of there. Let's get this one out of there. Now we've made some separation between them. That's what I just picked out, that little spot. That's enough for a salad for one person right there. Just that little bit of carrots I pulled. Just because I thinned them out. Oh, look at this one's got some sort of a deformity. I know, I think sometimes you got deformity and that actually the crop sends more chemical defenses that way and probably has a higher nutrition level. Yeah, there's one more batch right here. It's kind of thick, and we'll separate that one. This one here is kind of in the middle. That one's on an edge, that one's on an edge. Well, let's take this one because it's a little close. I guess we'll take the smaller one here. And here's a couple that are close together. Let's take one of those. Let's take this one between the two. I think we're good now. Look at that. Another nice handful. Just thinning out. Those seeds, you know, they don't cost much per seed. So you get them kind of thickly planted, well, you get the opportunity to thin them out and produce a harvest. So I'm going to come through here now. I'm going to get these candy onions out of here. These candy onions, again, I haven't ever let them bulb up. I normally grab them before they do and eat them as like a scallion. But this time I wanted them to bulb up in this spot because this is going to be an ingredient for salsa I'm going to make this year. I haven't made salsa for a couple years and now we've run out of salsa. So, you know, if I can make, I don't know, 30 to 50 pints, that's plenty. We're not having as many meat dishes as we used to. We don't have as many kids as we used to. Don't have kids in the house like we did. So, don't need as many. In the past, I've spent lots of time. Well, that candy onion is still green and growing, so we'll leave that one in there. I guess I pulled a couple in here already, so what's the difference, right? And I got some candy onions on the other side too. These aren't magnificently big ones. I think because we have a little bit more shade than normal, people would have them in a row without anything competing for sunlight around them. And consequently, they'd probably produce larger ones. I don't know, I never grouped candy onions to size, so I'm not sure how big they get. Maybe these are all the bigger they get, I don't know. But I also don't use any chemical fertilizers, which tends to not make a healthy crop, but actually encourages the plant to drink a lot of water, you know, along with the chemicals. So you might get a heavier, bigger crop, but it's not as nutritious of a product. Okay, let's kind of separate these two. This is the harvest that I made just right now. Look at that. That's pretty nice. Now we'll let the rest of these carrots grow and we'll see what happens. Nice experiment. Okay. Here are the onions. I'm going to let them dry out on the table here for a couple days. And here are the carrots. These smaller ones we're going to eat right away. Larger ones we'll eat in the next couple of days. And here's the remnants of a kohlrabi I started eating on this morning.